Incoming Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno says there will be no underspending under the Duterte Administration. At the same time, he assures that there is sufficient money to fund projects and programs of the incoming government. This report by Freddy Abando.
Incoming Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno will set a record of serving 3 presidents since 1986. He was appointed Undersecretary by the late President Corazon Aquino from 1986 to 1991. He served former President Joseph Estrada as Secretary from 1998 to 2001. President-elect Rodrigo Duterte named Diokno to succeed outgoing Secretary Florencio Abad.
Public service is my calling. In fact, my undergraduate was public administration, so it was not hard for me to decide that given the opportunity, it is my patriotic duty to serve. I consider it an honor and a privilege, and maybe I've done something right in my previous terms that I was offered by President Duterte a third time.
The immediate concern of Diokno is to ensure there is sufficient funds left from the 2016 national budget of 3.002 trillion pesos. Based on the briefing of DBM officials for Diokno, 31% of funds of all government agencies were spent for the first 4 months of 2016. The remainder of the budget will be available for the rest of the year.
And I'm more confident that there's enough money left as a result of the first 6 months of spending. So I'm not worried about 2016. There's still enough money for us. And then we're preparing for the 2017.
Diokno bared the Duterte administration will avoid underspending, which was the norm for the outgoing government. No attempt will be initiated to revive the Disbursement Acceleration Program, or DAP, declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
What's the reason for the underspending? I would say, number one, poor budget preparation, meaning you put projects in the budget which are not ready to run, right? There are some problems. So, number two, it could be the ineptness of the department secretaries, and you can identify those department secretaries. Number three, maybe it was on purpose. There was an intent to create a buffer or a slack in the budget, which they can then play around in the course of budget execution. And you saw that in the DAP, the Disbursement Acceleration Program. So that will not happen. Our budgets, or the budgets of Duterte for the next 6 years, will be DAP compliant.
Diokno also bared deficit spending will be raised from 2% to 3% of GDP, with more resources to be spent for infrastructure spending. Diokno downplayed concerns it will downgrade the country's credit ratings. With gross international reserves of almost $84 billion, Diokno said the country has the resources to meet its debt obligations. Remittances of overseas Filipino workers projected at $26 to $30 billion will also help.
We will use the additional deficit to finance infrastructure projects because, as you know, we're lagging behind our ASEAN neighbors. Okay? We will make up for past neglect. It will not alarm our creditors, number one, because of that. We will use it for making up our lack of infrastructure. Number two, we have a hefty GIR, gross international reserves. Okay? Number three, our foreign debt to GDP ratio is at its lowest. Yeah. Okay, and number four, there's a steady stream of OFW remittances, 25 to 30 billion every year, in addition to the BPO remittances.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddy Abando report.